Alright, what is your earliest memory?
My earliest memory is living in my grandmother Grivich's house. I was about between 3 and 4 years old, and I was crawling on the floor.
Alright. What did you do as leisure time when you were a little kid?
Well, I was with my sister, Aunt Kathy. I used to take things apart. Used to love to take watches apart. Took anything apart I could find. When I was a little older, I liked to ride bicycle. I had a paper route. I liked Boy Scouts, Cub Scouts, Boy Scouts, all Scouts. Go ahead.
Did you have any friends?
Yeah, I had
And what kind of games did you play with them?
Okay, we used to... Yeah, I had friends. Mr. Healy was my friend, Mr. Wolf. We had a whole gang that played stickball together in the streets. We used to... Before that, we used to play guns, cowboys. We used to play touch football. We used to ride our bikes to Alley Pond Park. And that's about good enough.
Did you have as much education as we do now?
I am still going to school after all these years, but I had 8 years of Catholic grammar school. I had 4 years of Catholic high school. I had 4 years of Queens College. I had 3 or 4 years of graduate school part-time while I was teaching, and I'm still going back to school every once in a while.
Did you have any subjects back then that we don't have today?
No, I didn't. I had Latin, which, you know, I'm a Latin teacher, and not too many schools still have Latin, but that's about the only thing. I never took shop, and I never took music, and I never took home ec, so I can't comment on that any further.
Okay. Were the teachers as strict as they are now, or even more strict?
Well, my teachers were more strict than they are now. I never had any teacher who let me get away with what kids get away with today.
What did they do when you were late, or if you misbehaved?
In high school, if we were late, we had a late detention, and that was automatic. There was no excuses accepted. If you were late for a class or late for school, you had a 30-minute detention after school. And if you misbehaved and you got a misdemeanor detention, you stayed after school again, and that went on your record. Late detentions didn't go on your record, but misdemeanors did.
What about in elementary school?
In elementary school, I don't even remember being late, because I lived so close. I walked, and I was always there in plenty of time, and I was either there or I wasn't there.
Okay. Were you a straight A student?
In grade school, I was a straight A student. In elementary school, I never got anything less than 90, except occasionally in penmanship. Once I remember geography, I got 78, and my parents were so angry I never did that again. But in high school, I got a few 80s, and most of the rest were 90s. And in college, I got my first D and C, and I learned what it was like then to have to really work hard.
What were your worst subjects?
Science, especially biology. I really didn't learn any biology. I just got a D by the skin of my teeth.
Did you get a lot of homework?
Yep, I had. In grade school, I had, by the 8th grade, my 8th grade teacher was a PhD, and
It's a PhD.
PhD is someone who has a degree higher than a master's.
Is it a doctorate degree?
A doctorate degree, that's right.
Whatever.
And, wait a minute, I'm not finished the question yet.
Okay, keep going.
Did I get a lot of homework? By the time I was in 8th grade, I was going to school from 8 in the morning till 5 in the afternoon, because she was kind of weird that way. And she wanted us to all get into good Catholic high school, so we had a lot of homework, 2 or 3 hours. And that 2 or 3 hours continued right through high school, and then in college it was ridiculous. It was 3 or 4 hours a night I was at the books.
Now we get into teen years.
All right.
How many dates did you have as a kid?
How young?
Between 14 and 18.
I didn't even start to date until I was 16.
You told me 14, 16.
Oh, excuse me. I had a date at 14, which I only did because everybody else was going out on a date. I didn't really like the person. I didn't really want to go out dating. I didn't really care.
That was stupid.
I went on a square dance with a girl that I liked very much, who lived on the corner from where Grandma used to live, and she isn't alive anymore. But I didn't really start to date seriously until I was 16, and then I went out as often as I could, almost every week.
How did it feel when you had a date?
Sometimes good, sometimes not so good. Depends on who I was with. I had almost a steady girlfriend, but who was popular with all the boys, so I was very jealous and had to really work hard to keep her attention.
Okay. Did you go to your senior prom?
Yes, I did.
How was it?
It was very nice. It was in the gymnasium of the school, which was all semi-darkened and decorated very nicely, and looked just like a ballroom.
Did you have good behavior in class?
My own behavior?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was perfectly behaved in class. I never acted on it.
12 was, did you have detention? I guess you did.
I had detention once or twice in high school for being late, and I had it only once that I remember of for misdemeanor detention.
And you never had detention for any fights?
No, I never. By the time I was in high school, I never had any fights.
You didn't have any fights in school?
I had a lot of fights in grade school. There was this one guy who liked to pick on me, and I finally had a fight on the street with him.
But that wasn't school?
Nope, that wasn't school. I never had a fight in school, no.
Okay. You had them off school?
Yes.
Did you win?
I won. The one in grade school I won. The one in high school was with the local hood.
What's a local hood?
Local juvenile delinquent that everybody knew about. And this kid was an excellent fighter, and my friends then advised me not to fight him. And just about a week before we were scheduled to have a big fight, I told him I wouldn't fight him.
So this was scheduled beforehand?
Mm-hmm.
And you got beaten?
No, not beaten. I just didn't do it. I said no, I wouldn't.
Smart. Did you have a lot of chores when you were a kid?
Yep.
What were they?
I had to dust the baseboards and the windowsills. I had to put out the garbage, and I had to super scoop the dog.
Pooper scoop. With the pooper scoop.
With the pooper scoop that we have now. That's right. Every day I had to do that in the morning.
Sick.
Before I went to school.
You should just let the dog go on the rug. With this rug, you should let him go on it. When you started smoking, or if you ever did, what did you?
I smoked once in my whole life.
What age?
18.
Okay.
I had one cigarette. I hated it, and I never had another one.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Now we get into the late. No. But.
You're still recording.
Yeah, I know that.
Standing there alone, the ship is waiting, all systems are go. Are you sure? Control is not convinced, but the computer has the evidence. No need to abort. The countdown starts. Watching in a trance, the crew is certain, nothing is to chance. All is working, trying to relax. Up in the capsule, send me up a drink. Jokes, Major Tom. The count goes on. 4, 3, 2, 1. Earth below us. 15 falling, floating away.
Club with Church of the Poison Mind.
Okay, here goes interview number 2. On, what's the date? 12/10.
Today is the 10th, 12/10/83. That's right.
Turn your volume up, please.
What's up? Go ahead. Speak to me.
Is it loud enough?
Yep. Speak to me.
Okay, you went to college, I know that.
Yes.
Where?
Queens College.
Where is that located?
Queens College is in Flushing.
And where is Flushing located?
Flushing, Queens. Flushing, New York.
Which is near what
Oh, it's out
particular
on
known
the-
place?
It's out on the Long Island Expressway. It's near Main Street in Flushing. It's near Horace Harding Boulevard. On your way into New York City from Long Island.
Yeah. Was there a special reason that you chose Queens College?
Very special reason. I had to pay for it myself, and it was free.
You got a scholarship?
No. At that time, the City University, all the branches of the City University were free. They were free to residents of New York City, and you had to have an 89 average to get in. And so it was very, very hard to get in, but once you got in, there was no charge except for registration fees and books.
And how much did that cost?
Registration was about $25 a semester. That's a half a year.
Yeah.
And my books ran me about $70 every half year.
Okay. What subjects did you take?
Well, I took a liberal arts education. If you want to know what subject I majored in the classics, Latin, Greek, classical history.
What other subjects? Anything else?
Oh, I took the required subjects. I took English. I took math. I took contemporary civilization. I took science, music, art, phys ed. But most of my work was done in the classics.
Okay. Did you enjoy college?
Once I got past my first year, I enjoyed it. I did not like my first year at all.
Okay. What did you do after college?
After college, I went right up to Tarrytown, to Sleepy Hollow High School, and began teaching Latin.
Okay. I know you married, and I know who. Did you have a fancy wedding?
Which one?
The first one.
The first one was not fancy at all, no.
Where was it held?
First wedding was in Sacred Heart in Yonkers. And the reception was in my apartment. It was a lunch.
Oh, God.
It was about 35 people there.
That's it?
That was all. It lasted about 2 hours, and it was finished.
Oh, God. What was the best thing that happened in your life so far?
I don't know. I have to pick one thing?
A few if you want. It doesn't
All right.
matter.
The high points of my life?
Yes.
You. Giving birth to, watching you. Having my first child. My other two children. As you know, I saw the other two being born. I didn't see you being born, but...
No, they kicked you out.
No, I wasn't allowed. It was your mother's will that she do it alone. I enjoyed the three children very much. I'd say another high point was getting married to Mom, the mom we have now. I enjoyed that wedding very much.
Hey, wait a second. Will you hold up?
Go ahead. You asked me.
Where am I? What was the worst thing so far that's happened in your life?
Hate to be honest.
Oh.
I think the worst thing that's happened was getting married to my first wife. I think the mistakes I made there is probably the worst thing that's ever happened, and I think the garbage I had to go through to undo that mess was just as bad. It's probably the worst time of my life.
What was the saddest moment of your life so far?
Oh, I don't know. I think anytime somebody dies that's in our family is
What has
sad.
been the saddest death?
Great-grandma Colton, I suppose, has been the saddest of all of them. It's too bad she had to suffer all those years.
Oh, well. What was the funniest thing in your life?
Oh gosh, I don't know. I've had a few laughs along the way. I guess the funniest thing in my life, stupidest thing in my life,
Must be a lot of them.
not really. The night I guess the night when I was working up in Scout Camp, the last year I worked in Scout Camp, and took a whole bunch of guys out in my station wagon, and I got loaded.
What does that mean?
I got drunk.
You got drunk?
And some of the stupid things that they had to do to me to get me back to the camp safe.
How? What'd you do?
Oh, they pretty much stole the keys and everything else.
They drove the car?
No, I wound up driving the car because I was stupid and stubborn, but that was the stupidest and I guess the funniest to everybody else.
Alright. Did you travel a lot?
Yeah, as a young man, I traveled a lot, an awful lot. You want to know where I went?
That's for the next question.
Okay.
Where and when?
Okay. After I graduated college, I started traveling. I was a single man until I was 26, so I started traveling. I used to go into New England a lot, went to Canada a lot, Montreal and Quebec. As you know, I used to drive handicapped people around on pilgrimages up to Quebec and Montreal. I've been to Niagara Falls. Let's see. When I was 24, I went to Italy with 6 students. and stayed there for 6 weeks. I've been south as far as Florida. I've been north as far as Canada. I've been east as far as Italy, and I've been west as far as Pennsylvania, which isn't very far west, by the way.
Amen.
When you were 4 and 5 years old, I traveled with you quite a bit.
The Adirondacks and the Catskills.
Right, up the north way.
Right. I lost my place. Oh, while in college, what did you want to be? What was your goal to get a job as?
I always wanted to be a teacher, and I am a teacher, and I'm a good teacher. But I've had different thoughts as to how I wanted to teach. At certain times in my life, I wanted to teach as a priest. And of course, getting married, kind of canceled that out. When I started college, I wanted to teach math, and I quickly found that I couldn't keep up with college math. Then I was in English for a while, and that didn't really appeal to me. It was very dull and dry. Even though I'm an English teacher now, I had trouble getting used to English in college. And then I went into language teaching. I wanted to be a French teacher. And after going through a couple of French courses, I realized that I can read and write very well in the language, but I can't hear the language. I had a lot of trouble hearing the language because it has all kinds of silent letters that just threw me. So I wound up teaching language that I didn't have to speak at all, and that was Latin. Latin is just a language now that we read and write, and we use a few phrases, but we don't really speak it in conversation. So I wound up being a Latin teacher. And now I'm going back to school for Italian, so I've always wanted to be a teacher. It's just a question of what I want to teach. I'll teach. I love to teach anything that I know.
What were some of your other goals as a child and in college?
Well, I just mentioned one of them. See, I wanted to be a priest, which can't happen now. I've always wanted to help other people and be a service person in public service, and that's what teaching is public service. And I come from a long family of public servants. My grandfather was a cop, and my father was a fireman.
And you are
a teacher.
A teacher.
So none of us in the family have ever been in a profit-making organization or in a profit-making business. We've always been in service. And I don't know any. I didn't believe in the armed services, and I still don't. I believe somebody has to defend us, but I just don't believe that that's for me. So my idea of service was service at home, and I've always lived for that. Now I live to serve my family and serve my children, and also serve those that I teach.
Did you achieve most of them?
Yeah, I think so. I'm achieving. I will never be a priest now, unless I become a widower, which I'm not anxious to do, or unless they change the rules. I've made a couple of attempts to become a clergyman in a lower position, such as the Third Order of St. Francis. And that didn't work out too well, and maybe in years to come I might become a permanent deacon, but I don't know if that's going to happen either. The other goals I fulfilled, or I am still fulfilling. That is the goal, to serve people.
Okay. How is it like these years after your first divorce?
How was it after my first divorce? After my divorce?
Yeah, how is it like these days? I mean, is it
It's beautiful.
It better?
Much better. It's 1,000 times better. It's 1,000,000 times better. There's no comparison. There's just no way to compare the two.
Did you feel it was right to remarry?
I felt it was right to remarry only because my marriage was annulled by the Catholic Church. If the Catholic Church did not annul my marriage, I probably would never have remarried. And that's an honest statement. I believe if you're going to be a Catholic, you have to live by the rules of the Catholic Church, and it's only because they found grounds for the fact that my marriage never existed in the first place that I was able to remarry in good faith. And inside the church, as you know, I was married in Sacred Heart in Suffering.
Different Sacred Hearts?
Yeah, it's a funny thing, I was married in Sacred Heart twice, but just different ones.
Yeah. Do you, now that you're remarried, what is your place in our family? You're the father, you're the husband, right?
That's correct. I'm a father, I'm a husband, in a sense, I'm the chief breadwinner in that I make more money than your mother does. I bring home more money than mother does. I try to give in to your mother's wishes as much as possible, but if I think that something is dreadfully wrong, I stand up for myself. I don't consider myself a boss of the family. I don't consider everybody my subject and me the king. I like to think of myself as a father who's here to serve the family and to show guidance. I also like to think of myself as a spiritual leader of the family.
How did it feel when you had a child?
Wonderful. All three. Wonderful.
Okay.
Absolutely wonderful. There's nothing like seeing that newborn baby for the first time. I saw you, I'd say 15 minutes after you were born, I saw you pass by in a little cradle there that they roll you down the hall in.
You're running out of tape.
And yeah, okay.
Okay, what were you saying now?
I was saying there's nothing like it in the whole world when that new baby comes by. When that new baby gets rolled down the cradle, I saw you, I saw your brothers. Of course, I saw your brothers get born, which I didn't have the pleasure of seeing you, but I saw you 15 minutes later.
You told me that,
And just to see the family resemblance, see how much you look like this one or that one. There's a beautiful high feeling that comes from the birth of a child, and being able to call all the grandparents and tell them, wow, we got a beautiful boy. Those have been really the high points in my life.
Do you like being a family leader?
Yes, very much so. I like being a spiritual leader of the family. I'm not really interested in being the leader as king of the family. I'm interested in being an equal partner in the marriage. I'm an equal partner with your mother. We try to consider each other's wishes at all times, and we talk things out, and sometimes we talk louder than others, but we talk things out. And I enjoy being a co-leader of the family with your mother. And I really do consider myself a spiritual leader of the family. I enjoy that role very much, and I feel it's a necessary role for me.
What is the advantage of that place?
What place?
Being a father and a husband.
Oh, the tremendous feeling of being useful, of being wanted, of having people in a way depend on me. Certainly the love that goes with it is worth it. I know everybody in this family loves me very much. Including you, Pumpkin.
What is the disadvantage?
Of being a husband and a father? I get very tired. I worry about you kids. I worry about your mom. I worry about you and your mom. How you two get along and how you two don't get along sometimes.
You mean a lot.
Well, I'm very interested in you two getting along. I'm very interested in you two getting along and in you realizing how much your mother really loves you.
She doesn't want.
Yes, she does.
Alright, skip that. Do you use a lot of money being the family leader?
Sure, we spend a lot of money.
How much average would it be to raise the family, this family?
How much money?
Per year, including taxes.
Your mother and I make, we're in the $40,000 range now. And I'd say that we spend just about all of it during the course of a year. I don't work during the summer, so I have to draw upon what I save over the school year. Mother works all year round and brings home the money that buys the food. The cash money we keep around the house. My money pays the bills, and I save what I can, and then I have to take it out during the summer to pay the bills. So we make in the 40s, and even though we save a few thousand every year, we wind up spending it over the summer. So we use every bit of it. We use 40,000 or more, including the taxes now. That includes what we pay to the government. Go ahead.
Let's see, where am I? Oh, could you tell me something that happened no, that's a dumb question.
Well, ask it anyway.
Could you tell me something that happened in being a father and a husband?
Something that happened. Well, that's too big a question. I mean, what do you want to know? What did you have in mind when you wrote the question?
Like, could you tell me something like serious or funny or stupid that happened? Anything?
Well, I remember things about you kids. I remember things about you. A lot of the things I remember about you happened at Grandpa's house.
Because it's where I live for most of the time.
Right. I remember a lot of you growing up there. I remember a lot of things about the little ones. I guess the little ones, when I see them hugging each other and kissing each other and trying to act grown up to each other, I think that's funny. I think that's hysterical. I think it's cute. But when I see you growing up and becoming a young man, am I boring you?
No.
When I see you becoming a young man, I think that's great. I like to watch that. Go.
Do you get a high salary?
By comparison to what?
To most jobs in the U.S.
Well, they tell me that according to the average salary, I'm above average by a little bit. I think the average salary now is about $25,000, and I'm higher than that. I'm at 32. But as far as this county goes, as far as Rockland County goes, in Westchester County where I work, I get a very low salary because there's an awful lot of money out here, and there's an awful lot of people working in New York who are working in business, and they have more expensive homes. We don't have a very expensive home, as you know. But it's a comfortable home, and we keep it well. But it's not one of these ranch homes that people buy around this county. So I'd say that by comparison to this county, I'd say I make a low salary. By comparison to the homeowners in this county, I make a lower salary. Comparison to the average, the national average, or if you throw all the people who live in apartments in here as well, people who can't afford houses, I guess I'm right around the middle somewhere. We'll go.
That's it.
That's all?
For now.
That's it for now? Okay. Shut off the squawk box.
Chameleon, number 35, and it's by Culture Club.
Feel loving in your eyes all the way.